Welcome to another segment of Straight Talk with Grover Thornton. The show is designed to educate, inspire, and to inform you how governments, national, state, and local, impart our lives. Normally, I always start with achievements, but tonight, because of the problems in this nation, we have many, not only inflation, high price of gas. I just hope the people understand it's not Mr. Biden's fault. World conditioning, this is a global problem. But I want to speak tonight shortly about the massacre at that Robb Elementary School in Texas. It's a shame and a disgrace. These poor children were slaughtered, a massacre. What I cannot understand, and I've been watching the news day and night, how can police officers were standing at 1 hour and 17 minutes before they went into that school? I understood the little boy jumped out of the window. Why didn't and as I looked at the school, all those windows, why couldn't they go to the window and bring the man down? All those children murdered like that is a shame and a disgrace. Now, I don't want to be a difficult person to understand people, but I had a friend of mine say to me one day, since this happened, she said, "Grover, you reckon they didn't want to do that because all those kids were Latinos? Would they do the same thing if all that school were full of white children?" That has not come out yet. I'm not saying that is so. But if it is, it's a disgrace. I still don't understand how police officers trained to stand outside 1 hour and 17 minutes to allow this massacre to continue. What is the root cause of a lot of this? The basic root cause is the inaction of our government, the senators. Many bills are already ready for action, and they will not bring them up. The right to vote has not come up. The John L. Lewis bill has not come up. McConnell and those Republican senators will not bring the bills that will infect the change that we need in this nation. And here's the biggest problem is the NRA, the National Rifle Association. They have over 5 million members of that organization. And just think if they paid $50 a month, look how much money that is. And I was shocked when I sat and watched the TV in my office the other day. They were showing senators that received money. It went off so fast, but I did get an opportunity to see 2 senators. One with that Josh Hawley man and Ted Cruz. I can remember Ted Cruz receives 1 million, and I saw the vote. So it has to be 400-something thousand. And Josh Hawley was 1.300 and something. They move it so fast that I didn't get a chance to get those 2 names. They are committed to the NRA. That's why these things are happening. No gun control. And AR-15. When I was in the military, I was on the firing range as part of the training. And the biggest weapon that they had at that time was an M16 rifle. It was one of the best in the world. That was used in World War II, Korean War, Vietnam War. Now, this AR-15, that's a military weapon. A military weapon. Why should that be allowed in this nation? Why they don't ban that weapon? All these school shootings that has happened in this nation. According to the news media last week, there has been 232 mass shootings in this nation. No other country in the world, they're not having mass shootings back in America. It's a shame and a disgrace because one organization, that NRA, has the senators' souls. Now, another solution, and the biggest solution, ladies and gentlemen, is to take these sorry senators out of office. Remove them. Remove them. it's true that all of them are not elected at the same time. But when the time comes up for election, remember what they did not do and put them out of office. That's what needs to happen to these sorry people. They don't care about anybody. I read a book in my library here by Harry Truman, The New Deal, and Truman said these words: the Republican Party is for big business people, and do not let anybody tell you nothing else. That's what the Republican Party is. It's a business organization, and they're allowing all these people to have mass killing. Now, how would Cruz will feel if his wife went into a grocery store with his children and she's shot down? What about that boy going to church, talking to the minister, kill all those people? And one laid up under the table, well, I'm going to let you live so you can tell what happened. It's a shame and a disgrace. And I tell you right now, if you would put the Democratic Party and give them 2 or 3 more senators, all these things that I just mentioned, background check, 21 years old before you purchase a weapon, all these things would come to pass. It's a shame that a lot of our senators are tied in and they're tying down to big business, like Manson. I don't know whether he's a Democrat or not. In my view, he's a Republican and got a Democratic clothing. They didn't even want to pass the Build Back Better bill. And I read where he's tied into the gas lobbies. So that's the problem, ladies and gentlemen. We got to take these no good people out of office. They care more about money and power than they care about those kids that were shot. Look at other schools in Florida and Connecticut. Shot dead. They didn't have a chance to live their little lives. How shameful. How disgraceful. But what they'll do, and I'm telling you what these people do, they'll run right there and vote for them again. They'll put Cruz in over and over and over. That's what they'll do. Those type of people need to get out of office. And now they got all these rallies about save our lives. That's a shame what they've done to this country, the Republican Party. And of course, the next thing I want to be talking about will be this insurrection with that imbecile man called Trump. As that lady said on the TV, Miss Pence. Not Miss Pence. You know the Miss Cheney. I'm sorry. We don't take an oath to any man. We take an oath to the Constitution of the United States to protect it. And all these people got into that insurrection. And when they learned the information that came out the other night, and more is yet to come, even Trump, in so many words, supported the hanging of the vice president. It's a shame. But I'm going to tell you, that insurrection, a lot of pain. And what I cannot understand, ladies and gentlemen, all this murder, that's murder. Premeditated. They met when you meet together and you could form a conspiracy that you're going to do this, you plan that, that's premeditated. And why so many people still walking around? Now, I'm waiting like any other American to see what the Attorney General is going to do. All this talk about nobody's above the law. Everybody's above the law except Trump. He ought to be in jail right now. He ought to be in jail. And maybe out on bond. He caused this insurrection. He incited the people. You had the people on TV. He invited me to come. I come to watch because he told me to do so. Now, when I let him go to jail, he's not going to care nothing about them. And then has audacity to say it was a peaceful march. Peaceful? Beating people side the head with the flags and the blood. And that young lady testifying was unconscious. And he said peaceful? But I saw it one night on the television. And we know how his niece was talking about him. And on the television where I was listening, it was a psychiatrist, a medical doctor, and a psychologist. And both of them came with the same conclusion. The man is delusional. The man cannot stand that he lost an election. And the man has a mental problem. There's no question about it. And he's still running around speaking and doing all these things. Okay, look at this. In August 1968, 63, when the March on Washington, was over 125 to 50,000 people. No violence, no damage. Minister Farrakhan called 1 million black men. They left the city intact. Not one violence. And if black people had gone on like those crazy people did on January the 6th, white people would have called us everything in the world except a child of God. I think as I watched that thing, I think I saw one black person in there. And she should have been whipped. Following that delusion of man, that man is a cancer on this nation. He is a cancer on this nation. You know what you try to do with cancer? To get rid of it. He's a disgrace. And all these things happening to our nation like that. It's a shame before God. And these senators are sitting and letting all these things happen in this nation. Now, I've given you the solution is to get rid of them. They need to be out of the office. They go about their business, doing something else. And another thing they want to talk about is this Second Amendment. I left my Constitution in the back over there. What you get, you see the blue Constitution right by the television. Section 2, Article 2 in the Constitution. It tells you about the state having a militia. When the state, that don't mean individual states, talking about the nation. Section 2, Article 2, the right to bear arms. It should not be a fringe. There's nothing about nobody walking the street with an AR-15, like we in the Midwest. There you are, thank you. I just want to read it to the people and tell them exactly what it says. Article 2, Section 2 of this Constitution. The first 10 amendments to the Constitution is the first amendments are known as the Bill of Rights. It's Article 2, Section 2. Let me find it here, where you can understand a lot of people. No, I'm trying to find it. I had a jump clip on it. But anyway, what it does say was that the right for the people to bear arms, but it does not say that you have a right. Here it is right here. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. That's not like individual state. The word state refers to this country, this nation. And the president is commander-in-chief of the military. They talked about when all that was going on, Trump was the commander-in-chief, but he did call out nobody. He did call out the National Guard. He didn't contact anybody on any organization, defense secretary, nobody that could bring an end to this massive mess that they were doing at the Capitol. Because he incited it. He was sitting there watching TV, they said, in the dining room adjacent to the White House Oval Office, getting the joy out of what he was doing. His own attorney general said that was a bull, you know what else, about a fraud election. The man is delusional. The man cannot stand delusion. When Bush beat Vice President Gore, with all this mess, the Supreme Court finally gave it to Bush because they have more Republicans on the Supreme Court than Democrats. But Mr. Gore did not challenge that with all these hanging chads and all that, the stuff they call about the election with the votes. He went off in peace. He didn't cry fraud. They took the election from me, the Supreme Court. He didn't do that. He went as a gentleman. He lost the election and he accepted that. When President Kennedy won the election very narrowly, one of the narrowest election in the history of the country, about 1 million votes, so that's 100-something thousand, whatever it was. He won the presidency over Mr. Nixon. Mr. Nixon didn't cover that foolishness about somebody stole the election, the mafia took the election. He went away in peace, and again, he had another chance to become president, which he almost destroyed the country. But at that point, he did not rebel to say something was taken away from him like that, like Trump did. At all the presidents we've had, we have never had a peaceful transfer of power until Trump became president. I knew he was no good when he's coming down that escalator. I told my friend, he's going to be trouble. That's what I remember telling my friend. The first lie he told Mr. Obama wasn't born in the country. He's a liar all the way around. He's an evil. He's a walking devil is what he is. And if y'all want my real feeling about him, we all look at the Psalms of the Bible, the Word of God. This is God's Word. And the Word of God. Go get me my little blue Bible right by that. I want to let these people know just the way I feel about all these people that are causing this chaos and this mass murder and ruining this nation. Ruining this nation. If you read the history, Rome was a powerful country back then years ago. Rome was powerful. But Rome fell. It fell because of within. The domestic problems. Rome fell because the people decided that they didn't want to live a godly life. And they destroyed their own country. Now here, thank you so much. Now here's the way I feel about it. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. But I want to let you know just right here, my view. I like my own son. He gets angry with me, my own son. Part of my flesh gets angry with me when I see Trump and I said, I wish he was dead. He's an evil person. He's evil. And so what an evil, like I told him, he got angry with me. I said, look, don't tell me to read, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want, etc., etc., etc. And I depend upon God this way. Hear my prayer, oh God. And like David said, forgive me all my sins. Oh God, I look to you for this, that, and other. Want me to believe all right? And you don't want me to believe this right here, Kenny? I believe this 55th Psalm, the 15th verse. Here's what I feel about it. All of these people, they're bringing destruction to this nation, starting with that sorry man Trump. And here's what it says. Now, it was either by David or either Solomon, but I think this is David, because Solomon wrote some of the Psalms in the Bible also. Here's what it says, and I quote, don't take my word, get your Bible, and read the 55th Psalm, beginning at the 15th verse. And here's what it says. Let death seize upon them, and let them go down quick into hell, for wickedness is in their dwellings. That's what's going to happen to Trump sooner or later, and much sooner than later than y'all think. This man is an evil man running this nation. He's evil. And all those people afraid of him, scared of him. Liars. They know the election was not stolen. And talking about letting him run again in 2024, got to be kidding. But I want to discuss those 2 or 3 things that were on my mind, and I was going to give you my personal view. What I think about this country, the way it's heading. Racism, hatred. And then on the money, and God we trust. We may trust God, but God sure don't trust us. All right, I'm going to moving right along right now. And you know, we have an election coming up here on a runoff election, June the 21st. And I have 2 guests on my show here tonight. I have the Reverend Paul Smith. He is going to be trying to assume the position as the 5th District School Board member. And Reverend Smith, I live in the 5th District. And your predecessor, Mrs. Irene Hines, wonderful lady. I worked with her campaign 2 or 3 times. She's been to my home, discussing policy to help her win her election. And she has served greatly as a member of the Board of Education. And when I spoke to her the other night, she spoke so well of you, Reverend Smith. You came to my home and I met you in my office. We sat and talked. And I like your views. And I think you would carry on the same work that Mrs. Hines has done for so many years. And not only that, she has endorsed you. So I want to congratulate you for being in the runoff, Reverend Smith. I can't hear him. Huh?
Tell him he's muted. Tell him he's muted.
Say what?
He's muted. His mic.
Can you hear me?
I don't understand you. I was trying to get
Can you hear
Reverend
me?
Smith to respond. Can you hear me, Reverend Smith?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hold
Can
on
you
a
hear
moment.
me?
He's trying to say something, but I can't hear him.
His
Hey,
internet is not working.
huh? Well, I can't hear him.
He doesn't have a good connection, doesn't sound like.
We're trying to get a little connection going on. Just bear with us a moment, please.
No worries.
Sometimes you have to.
He should be able to.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, go
I
ahead.
can't hear him though.
Right.
You know how these technical things are. Can you hear me? He's speaking, but I cannot hear him.
That's on his end.
Huh?
That's on his computer.
His computer.
Yes.
Can you all hear me?
Now I hear you a little bit. You're breaking up, but you're trying to come in. She was saying it's on your computer, you know. I don't know.
Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I seem
'Cause
to have
I really
all
want-
my
I really want the people to hear you because I need to ask you a couple of questions. But you did hear me when I said I congratulated you.
yes,
You
sir.
did
Yes,
hear me
sir.
when
And
I said
thank you
Mrs.
for that.
Hines and endorse you.
Yes, sir.
But
Yes,
I want
sir.
the
Yes,
people
sir.
to hear you. I don't know why I can't hear the man, the young lady.
It's on his computer. We can't.
Where is the computer? The one
At
that he's
his
saying.
house. Yes.
Is it your computer? She said it's on your computer. It's causing a problem. Well, anyway, he's running for.
I'm not sure. I can hear you.
Sir, I just want the people to hear
I
you.
was
I
going
don't
to
know
say I
what,
hear you pretty good.
I don't know what's happening. I just can't hear you. I just can't. And I want the people to hear what he stands for. She was saying it was on your computer to break down.
Is it any better or is it the same?
I can hear you just a little bit. But anyway, maybe the people can hear you. I'm going to ask you a question. I've already congratulated you. And when you was on the show the last time, you talked about some of the things in your platform that you would like to accomplish. Let me ask you this. Do you think that you would really have a working relationship with our wonderful superintendent, Ms. Dr. Levette?
I do. I really believe that we will have a great working relationship together. We both seem to have the same goals to achieve, to help the young people, as well as to keep the Savannah-Chatham County Public School system moving in the right direction. I believe in her with her principles and her actions thus far. I commend her for an awesome response to this COVID pandemic. I believe that her fast acting helped save several lives. And I think that we will have an amazing working relationship.
Wonderful, wonderful. I'd like to see you get in there and continue the work that Mrs. Hines has done and is doing until she leaves and until the winner is sworn in. And I know you wish it would be you, and I think you're working hard for that purpose. And I commend you for that. And particularly, we got to protect her because, you know, as I said last month on the show, that man has out there his intention is to remove her from the office. And I think if we have a strong board, because the board hires the superintendent. And I would like for you all to get together and work to see that lady maintains that position that she does have, because she will certainly has done a great job for the system. And I want to thank you for being on the show. I'm sorry we had a little bit of audio problems, but I hope the people heard you and Reverend Smith. I welcome you into the ministry at Bethlehem Baptist Church. You're succeeding one of the best men that also have lived in this country and in this city, the Reverend Scott Stale. He was the pastor of the church you now heading, the Bethlehem Missionary Baptist Church. A young man, and hope he'll be successful. Reverend Stale was a person that filed a suit to integrate the public schools here in Chatham County. And also he was the first African-American county commissioner. Well thought of gentleman, and I'm pleased and happy that the church chose such a man as you. And thank you very much for being on the show. And I know the people are looking at you, and I'm sure they're looking favorably. Thank you very much for being tonight on the show. All right, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now, the next guest we have on the show tonight is a young lady running for to be the first African-American congressman in the 1st Congressional District. And her name is Joyce Griggs. She and I have been friends for many, many years. Many, many years, not just because she's running for no office. She's a personal friend of mine, and we've been friends. As a matter of fact, she handled a case for my son one time, and she has been a dynamic person in the community. She's excellent. She's qualified. I was just reading some of her bio, and she could finish telling you, but she has this AB, and also she has a master's in sociology, I believe it is, and a law degree. So bring Miss Attorney Griggs on the show. You got her coming up?
Hello.
Hello, Joyce. How you, darling?
Hi. Good afternoon. It is indeed a pleasure to be here. And Mr. Thornton, it's always great to see you.
I'm glad to see you. And I know you're running for this office. And there's a couple of things I need to ask you. But first, while I gather my data, tell us something about yourself. I do know, like I just told the people, you have this social degree, this master's degree, and a law degree. So you're by no means a dumb person, smart person. And not only that, I know you're going to say it, but you can reiterate and add to it if you want to. But I do know this, that you was a lieutenant colonel in the military. And even above that, you were in intelligence.
That's right. I was in
people
intelligence.
know what that is, a young lady. When I was in the military for 2 years in Germany, I was a company clerk, and we were having all this problem with the Cold War with the Russians now. They wake you up sometime unknown to you what time it's going to be, 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. They call it an alert. And everybody's moving like they're going to the front line with the Russians. And I was in the Jeep with all the typewriters and all the papers and stuff. And I do know this. When I had to type up I used to type 60 to 75 words a minute because I went to the school. Yeah. Years ago now. I was in the 20s. I'm in the 80s now. But I had to type up secret materials on the movement of the troops. That's why we have this alert. I know you know about alerts.
Yes, I do.
But anyway, I'm happy to have you on the show. Tell us a little more about yourself, Attorney Griggs, because I got some questions I'd like to ask you.
Sure.
And some things that are being said, I don't know whether they're true. You can answer. Like I say on this show now, I'm straight talk. I just tell it like it is. If you like it, fine. If you don't, that's you. And if the shoe fits, you put it on your feet.
That's right.
Now, you want to finish telling us anything I missed that the public ought to know about
Sure.
you?
Well, let me just give you a little bit of my
one thing I want you to address. One thing.
Okay.
Address this, because I know the reason. You know I know. Address this bad stuff. You know, sometimes people take one little thing and carry it a long ways, but that's not the whole person because they don't know the whole story.
Right.
So you tell us. You tell us first. Let's bring this bad thing to an end.
Okay.
And then we deal with the rest of the stuff.
Okay. Fantastic. Reference to disbarment back in 2004. As some of you may remember, I ran for Congress in 2000 against one of the most powerful Republicans on the Republican ticket. That was Jack Kingston. Okay. I didn't win, but that was my first time running for anything. And I got over 30-something% of the votes. In any event, after that, there was a professional attack, and it was initiated by the federal court. I had not, normally a lawyer would lose their license if they abandoned their clients, if they stole their clients' money, committed a crime, things of that nature. But I had not done any of those things. In fact, I have received the Chief Justice Award on Community Service and Professionalism from Chief Judge Justice Benham of the Georgia Supreme Court. So I had received that award. I had also received a certificate for doing so much pro bono work with Georgia Legal Aid. In any event, after I ran for Jack Kingston and I didn't win, the good old boys decided to form a conspiracy against me. They used the federal judges. You see, it's very difficult to impeach or remove a federal judge. So they used their friend to attack me. So the judges basically say they didn't like the way that I practice in their court. However, I will always stand up, present the evidence, and make the proper and appropriate objections that I may have had on any cases. I remember one occasion where Judge Edenfield told me to shut up and sit down and be quiet. And I told him, I said, sir, I took an oath to aggressively defend my clients just like I serve my country. And this is what I'm going to do for my clients. In any event, because I just wouldn't let them walk over me, and I defended my clients. I also ran for U.S. Congress. A lot of people don't know this, but in their documents in federal court, they actually had written in those documents that I was a Black female that ran for U.S. Congress, and I ran as a Democrat against Republican Jack Kingston. Okay? In other words, that's the essence of what happened. Okay? That's the essence of why they attacked me. Now, my clients did not go to the state bar and file complaints. This happened in what? After I ran in 2000. But Savannah Morning News, we went to court. I resigned from federal court. Savannah Morning News took the order from federal court. Guess what? They sent it to the state bar of Georgia. And as a result of that, the state bar started an investigation. And how do I know the Savannah Morning News? Because from the documents that I received back from the state bar during their investigation, they had the facts where it was faxed from. And it was Savannah Morning News. Matter of fact, Reverend Small saw that also, okay? Because we talked about it. And we made some people aware. So they started this witch hunt against me. They violated numerous rules. There was no due process. There was no equal protection of the law. And the Constitution guarantees if there are some charges against you, you have a right to be heard. You have the right to present evidence and to defend yourself. They refused to allow me due process or equal protection of the law. Also, the state bar rules say that the special master in an investigation against an attorney cannot be from the same county as the person being investigated. Well, guess what? They gave me an attorney from the same county that I was from. I made an objection to that, but they refused to even look at it. I mean, they knew they were wrong, okay? But they refused to do anything about it. But make a long story short, they ultimately took my law license without due process and had me on television, in the newspaper, as if I had committed a crime. And I've always taken care of my clients. Matter of fact, I did a lot of free work for people. I've never stolen the client's money or misled them, but I've always worked for the client. But it was a political attack. And they were, by the way, so you all know, these were Confederate era federal judges. A lot of them went to the University of Georgia. And I went to their archive, did some research, found out that a lot of them were a member of this organization that was supposed to be a literary organization. In fact, it was akin to the KKK. They made remarks like blacks need to go back to Africa. Women made derogatory remarks about women, about Jews. I mean, just horrible. And Judge Edfield was one of those judges, some others. They became federal judges. Imagine the black people or people of color that went before these judges, and they had mindsets like that. In other words, they didn't even consider us as human. And Grover, you know what? Even when I went out in certain counties, I had judges and even some lawyers say, show me your bar card. Oh, I'm a black female, so I can't be a lawyer? I can't be intelligent? Come on. It was a professional attack. They thought they succeeded, but they didn't. Because the Bible says, what you mean for evil, my God will turn it from a good. And no weapon formed against me shall prosper. It made me stronger and not bitter. Mr. Thornton? Hello? But in any event, I don't know if you can hear me, but that's just the essence of what happened with the state bar. But I will like to point out that in 2009, when I was deployed to Iraq, my daughter had emailed me that, Dad, I didn't see it till that night. And she said, call home. Did you see what the Supreme Court did? Basically, what the Supreme Court did was they overruled my case. Some white male attorneys went before the state bar for the same thing they disbarred me for. And the Supreme Court said, you cannot disbar an attorney for that because that rule doesn't apply. The Supreme Court is the only one that has authority to grant a license or take a license from an attorney. Nevertheless, I filed a motion for them to put my name back on the list of attorneys, but they refused to do so. And some people even told a lie that during some of the forums that I had been on, that I lied and said I had never been disbarred. I never said that, okay? People will make up lies and spread the lies to try to make people believe those lies to cast aspersion on you and your character. But guess what? I've kept on keeping on, and I ain't no way tired. I'm still fired up and ready to go, and I'm still fired up to fight for the people of the 1st Congressional District. Matter of fact, for all people. As a matter of fact, I don't know what's happening with Mr. Thornton, but these are some of the basics about what happened with the state bar. And I guess until he gets back online, I tried a big case in federal court where it was the case of the police officers. Actually, it was entrapment, among other things. There were some key police officers. They prosecuted, they were all Black officers, okay? And my secretary was in the courtroom and she heard the U.S. attorney say they wanted to get me because I fought so hard for that young man. So in essence, it was a political attack. But I didn't stop. And as some of you may know, even after that, I went back in the military because they needed intelligence officers. Deployed to Iraq 3 times. I received the Bronze Star Award. Okay, I even helped write legally binding agreement between America and Iraq. I even took some of our soldiers to an Iraqi court, prepared them to testify against the insurgents. So I've done a lot of things since that time. And like I said, I'm a fighter for the people. I won't give up. And guess what? They can't buy me. And that's one of the problems. They know that they can't buy me. That's why I've received so much opposition. And I can't be bought. They can keep that money and shove it because I, Joyce Marie Griggs, is going to fight for the people until the day that I die.
Well, I'm glad to hear you say that because I know how you be a victim of the workplace because I've been there too.
Yes,
Unjust.
yes.
And you know that. I told you the whole story.
Yes.
So, but I keep pushing, trusting God.
Yes.
And he has sustained me that I'm 88 years old. My mind is still pretty sharp.
And Grover, you look good and you got a sharp mind. I got to give it to you.
All right. Thank you, baby. Now, I want to ask you, I got a mail out yesterday. I'm glad you really outline and to let these people know about that disbarment.
Okay.
Because the truth will set you free.
That's right.
And I'm straight talk. You know, one of my idlers as a human person to emulate was Dr. Ralph Mark Gilbert.
Okay.
I always want to be a man like him. And he had a saying that I say to this day, nobody, and I'm going to quote him, put Ralph Mark Gilbert in his hip pocket. And that's where I am. I will never sell out the unborn Black children in this country. I've lived to see go wars and finally never thought we'd have a Black president. Never thought that.
Yes.
You've seen a lot of things in our day. All these presidents from Truman on through, I've lived through the administrations. Served my country 2 years in the military. But anyway, I want to thank you for all those words. Now, that should put that to rest about some disbarment mess. And one of my good friends called me. Now, I hope he's listening because I told him he's a professional man, one of my fraternity brothers, fine gentleman, and high respected in this community. Well, now, I know you got the truth from the lady because I told her, so you're going to address that on my show.
Exactly. And Grover, just one other thing. I asked the state bar to put my name back on the list of attorney authorized to practice law when they overruled the case. However, though, they refused to do it. And I believe it's because they know they are wrong and they are liable for damages. So there's some things yet to come pertaining to the state bar, because I don't want anyone else to have to go through what I've been through. And it's extremely difficult for Black attorneys, okay? It is. It's very difficult.
Very good. The next thing I want to ask you was, I received something in the mail yesterday. Two things, in fact, and I consider, since you're my personal friend, and I know all about the disbarment stuff that you just explained. I knew all that. You and I had talked about that for years.
Yes.
But now I'm gonna ask you: is this a fact? And I know you're gonna be truthful to it. Here's what it says. And this came from Mr. Wayne Herring, one of your opposition leader for this post. And here's what it says, and I'm going to read it. I guess a lot of people received it, and you make your mind up. But listen to the truth. Here's what it says. Joyce Griggs supports looser federal gun laws that would allow concealed carry gun rules in one state to be valid in all states. In other words, if I carry a gun in one state, I can go to another state. Is that your position? Yes or no?
No, it's not. And may I elaborate, please?
Of course.
Okay. Well, it's quite disturbing that this man got beat, not just by a little. We got 49%. He only got 38%. And really, if he really cares about the agenda of this district or this country, then he would have conceded and backed me so we can remove the opponent, the Republican opponent, in November. But he didn't, okay? So instead, what he resorted to was start telling lies and misinformation. Now, I am a combat veteran, Bronze Star recipient, okay? I have been trained in gun safety. I've fired so many different weapons in the military, okay? The M16, and 9mm, you name it. And even before we go off into combat, before I went off in Iraq, we went back through more training on these weapons. And I've commanded troops. I've had troops under me that had weapons. We constantly went to gun safety, how to handle the weapons, etc. Now, that is an absolute bold-faced lie, because he even said something about, I went along with Kemp on these issues. What is sad is that he's using this time in our country because of the senseless killing of those precious children down in Texas, okay? Number one, I am not weak on gun control. We've got to come up with a very comprehensive, serious plan on gun control. Actually, even before this killing, we should have come up with measures put in place. Number one, Grover, you cannot drink until you're 21 years old. So how can someone buy a weapon, let alone a high-power weapon? Okay, that's absolutely ridiculous. We got to have strong gun laws, gun safety laws. You should not be able to buy a weapon at 18. Also, you must undergo training. You must be licensed. Okay, all those things. And then these assault weapons. Who really needs an assault weapon? I mean, what are you going to do? Some of those children were so mutilated by what that man did. They had to do DNA testing to determine what child that was. Mm-hmm. Come on. And we also must look at the mental health aspect. A lot of these people are mentally ill, but they're getting weapons. That young man that received that weapon got it, mail ordered it from Daniel Defense, which is right here on Highway 16. Okay? Mail order it. Another thing I think is important. My daughter and I talked about this recently. You may have the weapon, but what about regulating the ammunition? Okay? Think about that. What about regulating the ammunition that you can get? We've got to have a comprehensive, common sense gun control program in place. We must protect our children. We must protect those going to church. We must protect those in theaters. We must protect our people. And I'm about gun sensibility and safety to make sure we take care and protect all of our people.
Now, another thing, Joyce, I want to ask you on this mail out. The only thing I'm saying, this is straight talk with me. Straight talk.
I know it is. I know
straight
it
talk.
Is. Okay.
So how can Mr. Herron say these things if he had not heard you say these? Now, like this right here, is this true or false? That's all I ask you to answer to the people. We don't want our people to be bogged down in lies, regardless. I don't care if it's you. Tell the truth.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm asking you. People make up all these things. Make up all these things.
Well, and you know what, Grover? Especially on some issues that we were on forums, basically he copied some of the things. If he went after me, he copied some of the things that I said. Okay, like safety, like increasing the age of things of that nature, and who needs an assault weapon, things of that nature. Okay, so he tried to copy some of the things I said, but he's trying to make it sound like I'm just weak. I am a combat veteran. I've handled numerous weapons, okay? And I know about gun safety. I know what a gun can do to a person. And we've got to have some common sense, practical gun solution to protect our people, to protect our children, to protect us. I don't want to go to a grocery store and end up getting shot, or go to church or to a movie theater. Okay, this man is grasping for straws. Like I said, we beat him. We had 49%. He had 38%. So now you want to come up with something to try to discredit me.
Now, another question. I got two more questions. This question I'll ask you, and then I got to ask you another question, which a person called me and they were concerned about.
Gotcha.
Here's the next question, Attorney Griggs. And I'm going to read what just came in the mail to me. I'm showing it to the people.
Right.
There's no makeup. This came in my mailbox yesterday.
Right. I have a copy also.
Okay, here's what it says. Joyce Griggs opposes federal abortion rights and supports the Supreme Court overturning Roe versus Wade. Instead of defending reproductive freedoms, she would side with Republicans and vote against protecting abortion rights in the U.S. Congress. Have you ever discussed this with anybody? Have you ever made a view on this?
Let me say this. On some of the forums, they asked about, remember the leak about Roe versus Wade? That decision that was leaked out? And what I've said consistently, the Supreme Court has ruled. This law has been in effect for, 50-something years, okay?
Yeah.
And also, they look at it as a privacy issue. Okay, this is a privacy issue. The woman's rights are protected under the right of privacy. Now, what I would like to further state, okay, when that situation about Roe versus Wade leaked out, I said very probably the Supreme Court is going to send it back down to the states. Let's face it, already a lot of states are passing laws about the abortion issue. Now, and what I told them, you're going to have to look at your state legislators because they're going to be making the laws concerning abortions. But my position is I don't want anyone telling people or telling me, any person telling me about what to do with my body. That is not your decision to make about my body. And that's what I've been telling people, okay?
Yeah, but if this, what I'm trying to say is this, I'm straight. Okay. If this, the public just heard your views. So how do people come up and say this right here? This is not facts. That's all I'm saying. You have never told anybody this right here. How did they get this to say you, whoever it is? If it was on the opposite side, I'd be saying the same thing. How can they say you opposes this when they never discussed it with you? You never made a statement to that effect.
Here's the thing, Grover. Some people tries to write the narrative for you. He can't write my narrative. He can't write my platform. Matter of fact, he can't come anywhere touching me. I'm a highly decorated combat veteran. And as far as I can recall, he's never served. And like I said, I have always consistently said, I will fight for the rights of all people. And instead of abridging or trying to take away someone's right, that's not my position to take away anyone's right. It is a woman's right to choose how she wants to deal with an abortion issue, just like it's my right, just like people had the right to choose whether or not they wanted to get that COVID shot, okay, or where they want to wear masks. So come on, don't try to impose something on me, Wade Herron, okay, that you don't even know. So what he's doing is he's putting misinformation out here to try to infuriate people, okay, to infuriate people against me. And because he's grasping for straws, he cannot write my narrative. And I will not allow him to.
Here's the last question that has been stated to me and wanted to know your position. And that is this. They want to contend that you will lose the election against Mr. Herring because of white support. You told me out of your own mouth in my office on several occasions, because I asked you that question. Did I not?
You sure did.
And you responded.
I sure
So
did.
you tell the public how you responded when you was in my office at my home when I asked you that question.
Okay. And what
That
I
white
said,
support.
okay.
You do have it.
Right. Okay. First of all, I want people to ask me for themselves, come to the source. I've had some people call me and ask me various questions. So we're going to the source. I said, great, that's what you need to do. But nevertheless, we've been working these counties, not just now. I've been working these counties for several years. And guess what? I have interacted with all people. Now, we've run into some people that said they wouldn't vote for someone that looked like me down in one of those rural counties. Okay, but I've had people say, I like your views. I like the fact that you are a fighter. Guess what? Black and white. I've had a lot of Hispanic, black, white, green, gray, LBGQQ, whatever you want to call it. But we have a large following of all people, including white people. And I've had them say, we will vote for you. And we appreciate your service. We appreciate the fact that you understand a lot of these issues. We appreciate the fact, you know why they appreciate me, Grover? Because I've been dirt poor, okay? One of 10 children. And there was a time we could not afford health care insurance. My mom nor my dad had formal education. I worked in the fields of North Carolina. I worked by the grace of God. I'm not going to leave him out. That I worked my way through school. And listen at this, Grover. And when I got out of school, went on a bachelor's degree, master's degree, and then my law degree. Okay. So basically, people understand. I've been there. Okay. I've been poor. We've been dirt poor. And guess what? And I've worked hard because I had believed in the American dream. I work hard to bring myself up to the point that I am now. And guess what? And people understand that there's a lot of poor white people in these rural areas. There's some poor black people, okay? All people. And there's a lot of people there without health insurance. And that is ridiculous, okay? Rural hospitals are closing. So the people, they understand. They know that I feel their heart. I can feel their heartbeat. I've been in their shoes. I've walked in their shoes. We didn't even have enough to eat that time. You know what we ate at time? Chicken feet and rice. Okay, chicken necks and rice. But my mama made it work by the grace of God. And my mom always taught me something. She said, you treat all people like human beings. You treat them right. You treat them with love and respect because God made us all. And I've taken that, what my mama said, throughout my life. And I love people. I care about people. I feel their heartbeat. I feel their hurt and I feel their pain. And I can identify with them. And they identify with me.
Well, I'm so glad you were on the show tonight, Joyce, and the people have to make their minds up. And the one thing the last thing I was looking at, I'm straight talk now. I'm just telling it is.
Sure.
When I was looking at this thing showing to me, and I'm showing the public all these children, and when I look at all these children, like I saw one little black boy up there in the corner, but all these kids holding hands on their white kids. And why aren't there no black kids in this group? I just leave that open, okay? That's just
Look
me.
at the mindset of the one that produced it, okay?
Well, I want to let you know this, that I appreciate you being on the show tonight, and you express your views, and I'm glad you talked about that disbarment business,
okay,
which I think is wrong to bring that up in the first place.
Right.
Because like I told you, I know hurt in the workplace myself. And if I had money, I would have sued the Board of Education, but I was going to take the money I was saving, and my wife was half sick. That was more important to me.
Right.
But anyway, I want to thank you very much for being on the show.
If I could just briefly, my phone number, if you really want to talk with me, you got questions for me, I'm at 912-316-6009. And my website is Joyce Griggs 2022. My issues are really outlined up there. But basically, The health care is a big issue. Voting rights is another big issue. Okay, and gun control definitely. All right, and veterans issues. There are so many issues that we must focus on instead of this petty stuff. We must stay focused on the big picture and take care of the people of this district, and that's what I am all about.
Thank you very much for being on the show. And as I told Reverend Smith, I wish you much success.
Thank you very much.
Joyce.
And I need your vote. Please get back out and vote for us. Vote for Joyce Marie Griggs. I am the best candidate. And I think we've shown that already. Boots on the ground. And I care about you. I'll fight for you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Thornton. I appreciate this.
Okay. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I missed one thing I went to mention, and I forgot while I was discussing the things that I wanted to bring to your attention tonight, and that was this. You know, Mr. Trump wants to condemn Vice President Pence. He would say that he had authority to send the votes back to the individual states where the persons who were the person to decide by putting all the votes together, send them to the vice president to be counted. Those electors. Now, here's what, if people would read and see what for themselves on some things, they would not have to always come to some false conclusion and making up lies and this happened and this happened. But you would know for yourself. You would know for yourself. Now, here's what happened. The Constitution requires all of the electors to meet and they cast their ballots. They really are casting the votes that the people vote in their respective states. Then they take them and they pile them all together and they send them to the Vice President of the United States. Now, and here's my thing. And I will show you this is the copy of the United States Constitution. Here's a copy. Here's what, when I read all through this Article 2, Section 1. And here's the point that I wanted to bring in. And I can't understand how Mr. Trump can say the man had the right to send the elector votes back to the individual states. No such thing as that. Here's what it says. The president of the Senate shall, in the presence of the Senate and House of Representatives, open all the certificates and the votes shall then be counted. The person having the greatest number of votes shall be the president. Nothing, the rest of this, all this article, the rest of it, what it deals with, ladies and gentlemen, if somebody does not have the right amount of electoral votes, this is the procedure that would take place to elect a president of the United States. Nothing else in here mentioned no vice president. Only that one thing. The president shall, vice president, the president of the Senate shall count the votes. Now, where in the world is getting this stuff out? He had authority to not count the votes. He had the authority to send the votes back to the Senate. There you go again, ladies and gentlemen. A man that is delusional. Here's the book. Here's what it says. We look like I'm about out of time for the night. I'm sorry about the little audio problem that we had from the beginning, but it did end on a good note. And I thank you for watching the show. And it comes on once a month. And what I like to do is to give you a number. If you wish to make a comment about the show, I can take constructive criticism. I'm strong. So here's the number you should call. 912-413-0999. So again, I wish to thank you for listening. And remember, go out and vote. That is a constitutional privilege to have in this country. We had to fight for it. We had to shed blood for it. We had to die for it. But still, we could still vote. Please get out and vote. Thank you very much for listening. And I would say this, as we march towards the end of the week, let us keep our faith in God. Let us march on for justice, equality, and opportunity. Let's work until it becomes a reality. For this is the birthright of all unborn Black children, because they will be the beneficiary of all our struggle and efforts. Thank you. Good night.
I like that.